Let me ask you a brutally honest question. Did you hit all the goals you set for yourself last year? No? What about the year before that? Or the one before that? Did you hit all the goals you set for yourself? Or did you set certain goals on January 1st when you were feeling super motivated for the New Year's? But by the time February rolled around, you completely forgot about all of your goals. And I'm gonna be honest, I only hit 3 out of the 5 goals I set for myself last year. So I'm not judging you. But the 3 goals that I hit, I only hit them because of the 4 things I'll share with you today. And the 4th thing that I'm going to share has been an absolute game changer for me. And I'm not saying this just to keep you watching the video longer so that my algorithm goes up. That 4th tip is genuinely one of the best things I ever came up with, and it will help you get to all the goals you want to get to. And since these 4 things have helped me get to 3 out of the 5 goals I set for myself last year, I'm going to use these to hit every single one of the goals I set for myself this year, and you can too. So with that being said, here's how I hit every single goal that I set.
All right, let's get started. So messy hair, dark circles under my eyes, raspy voice. I've been working on this for super long, and I also kind of have a cold, so please bear with me. But here's how to hit every goal you set. So I'm assuming the reason you're watching this video is because you probably set some goals for yourself in the past. You followed through with them for 2, 3, 4 days, and then you completely forgot about them. If that's the case, these 4 methods that I'm going to talk about today will make sure, and I promise you that once you follow these 4 methods, you are going to hit every goal you set for yourself. I can speak from experience because I've used all 4 of these methods last year to hit 3 out of the 5 goals that I set for myself. So the other 2 that I didn't hit, it's because I didn't use these 4 methods. So I promise you, if you use these, you are going to hit every goal you set for yourself. So number 1 is you're not capable of achieving your goals, which sounds counterintuitive, but I promise you it will make sense once I get into more details. So number 2 is the treasure map. Number 3 is a generalist perspective. And number 4 is foreseeing failure and building contingencies. So let's start with number 1. And I'm going to tell you why you have not been able to achieve all your goals so far. It's because the person you are right now has absolutely no chance of achieving all the goals you set for yourself. The person you are right now is not capable of achieving your goals, because if you were, you would have already done it. The person who can achieve all the goals you set for yourself is the person you are becoming. So any success that you want to see must first always come with a change in identity. You must see yourself as he who can, and then you need to become he who can. And I'm going to show you exactly how to create a new identity. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take out a piece of paper and write down your name 2025 next to it. The reason I said 2025 is because that's the year after this year, 2024. So whenever you're watching this video, just write down your name and the year after whatever you're watching this on. So if you're watching this on 2026, just write down your name 2027 next to it. So after you've done that, I want you to write down in exact specific details the type of person you want to become in the following year. I want you to write down the person you think is capable of achieving all the goals you set for yourself. So write down, how does he look like? How does he dress like? What type of character traits does he have? Is he disciplined? How disciplined? When does he wake up? How many hours does he work? Write down all of those stuff. Write down everything that you think a person who can achieve all your goals will have in themselves as a character trait. Write all of that down in exact specific detail. Do this after watching this video. And to give you an example, I'll basically show you the one that I have for myself. So it is right here. It's called Sakib 2025. And I'm just basically going to go over and read this so that you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. So I am an exceptional salesperson and closer, obviously. I went from a lazy, unmotivated, passionless, and unsuccessful individual into someone who is disciplined, driven, full of life and passion. Yeah, I developed monk-like focus through prayer and meditation, and I no longer feel the need to constantly check my phone, which is something I really struggle with. As a result, I'm now making $20,000 per month, and I can easily work 4 to 6 hours without checking social media. I'm the most attractive version of myself. My hair looks great. Not right now. I have clear skin, I have a chiseled physique, and I smell fantastic, and my fashion game is the best it's ever been. Every time I step out of the house, I can feel the confidence oozing from me. As for fitness, I'm now maintaining at 85 kilograms. I'm lean, muscular, have a V-taper, and I train 4 days a week and do Muay Thai 1 day of the week. My diet is clean 80% of the time, and I occasionally enjoy a cheat meal. I strictly eat organic, high quality food, and drink reverse osmosis filtered water. For my social life, I made it a habit to talk to 3 people every single day and followed that rule for the majority of the year. This has made me a very social person, and I met some really high quality people as a result. Simultaneously, I've also been reading books on charisma, psychology, persuasion, which has helped me with social situations even more. On the spiritual aspect, I've gotten back to regularly praying again. I rarely miss a prayer, and as a result, my life has gotten significantly more peaceful. I have also moved into my own apartment. It's a beautiful studio apartment with great view of the city, and I also took my parents on an all expenses paid trip. So as you can see, that's basically me talking about the person that I want to become in 2025, and I think that this person is capable of making $20,000 per month and basically retiring my parents, which is my goal right now. So what I want you to do is I want you to write something similar like this. Write down your name and 2025 next to it, and then basically write down all the things that you think you need to do or you need to become in order to achieve all the goals you set for yourself. That is exactly how you start creating a new identity. Once you have that, once you've already done this, I want you to become obsessed with this paper. You're going to read this first thing in the morning, last thing at night, when you're in the bathroom, whenever you have a spare second, when you're waiting in the line, whenever you have a spare second, you are going to read this page over and over and over again. As a result, you're going to know exactly the type of person you need to become, every single thing that you need to do every single day in order to become the type of person who can achieve all the goals you set for yourself. Because like we talked about before, the person you are right now has absolutely no chance of achieving all the goals you set for yourself. Because if you did, you would have already done it. So you need to become this person, the one that you're going to be writing about, in order to achieve all the goals you set for yourself. So write down what he does on a day-to-day basis. Write down his habits, write down his goals, write down his character traits. Write all of that stuff down, then become obsessed with this person. Once you're obsessed with this person, you're also going to start doing every single thing that you wrote down. So if you wrote down that he wakes up at 6 a.m. and he works like 3-4 hours every single day, non-stop, full focused, then that's exactly what you're going to have to start doing from the next following day. And then day after day, you start becoming that person by following everything that you wrote down. Before long, you are going to be this new 2.0 version of yourself. And as a result, you are going to achieve all the goals you set for yourself. I actually drew something about this to help you understand better. So over here, and excuse my crappy drawing, but over here, like I already told you, you are not capable of achieving the goals you set for yourself. Because you first need to become he who can, the person who can achieve all your goals. So you need to go from you 1.0 here to you 2.0. For me, I also need to go from me 1.0 to me 2.0 because the person I am right now, which is the 1.0 version of myself, is not capable of achieving all the goals that I set for myself. The big, huge goals that I have of retiring my parents, getting to 20K per month, I can't achieve that by being the 1.0 version of myself. So in order to become the 2.0 version of myself, I need to start becoming this person. Every single thing that I wrote down, I need to start living like that. I need to start faking it till I actually make it. So I need to start working 4 to 6 hours every single day without checking social media. I need to start becoming more focused and disciplined by meditating and praying. So I need to start doing everything that I wrote down in this paper in order to become that 2.0 version of myself who can actually achieve all the goals he set for himself. And I want you to do the same thing. You right now are the 1.0 version of yourself. And you need to become the 2.0 version of yourself if you want to achieve all the goals you set for yourself. So write down exactly what the 2.0 version looks like, what he does, what character traits he have, what he needs to do on a day-to-day basis in order to achieve all your goals. Write that down and then start doing that every single day. And throughout the day, keep asking yourself, what would he do? What would the 2.0 version of yourself do? So if you're stuck or if you're struggling to do something or if you're confused on what you need to do, just basically ask yourself, what would the 2.0 version of yourself do? Whatever the answer is, start doing that. Because again, the 2.0 version of yourself is the one who's capable of achieving all the goals you set for yourself. So when in doubt, just ask yourself, what would the 2.0 version of me do? And just do that. Your action step for this step is to create your new identity. So pause this video right now and write down exactly what your 2.0 version looks like. Okay, welcome back. So Now that you have your new identity in place, it's time to actually start building bulletproof systems to make sure you actually achieve your goals. The first step, and I'm assuming you already have done this, is to actually set some goals for yourself. Now, if you don't have any goals right now, or if you have like very general goals like I want to be rich, or I want to be successful, or I want to lose fat, gain muscle, whatever. If you have general goals, let's forget about those and set some specific goals. Because if you're setting general goals like I want to be rich, I want to be successful, there's nothing tangible to it. There's nothing to actually aim for. So a better way to set goals is to actually set specific goals, such as I want to get to $20,000 per month. I want to get to $10,000 per month. Or I want to lose 10 pounds in 6 months. Or I want to lose 20 pounds in like 12 months, something like that. When you have specific goals, you know exactly where you want to go, and that gives you a step-by-step process of actually getting to that goal. So let me explain myself further. So step 2, like we talked about, is the treasure map. The reason I named it the treasure map is because if you think about what a pirate does, a pirate is just going about his day, but then he hears about a treasure, that there's a treasure on this specific island. So when he's going about his day to day, the pirate is sad, then the pirate finds the treasure location, which is the exact place, the exact island where the treasure is. Pirate creates a step-by-step plan on how to get that treasure. He creates a step-by-step bulletproof system on how to make sure he actually gets to his goal, which is the island to get the treasure. Pirate gets the treasure, pirate happy. Same thing with you and yourself is, you right now may be sad and depressed because you have a goal, a very general goal, but you don't exactly know how to get to that goal. You decide where you want to go. That is when you decide to create specific goals. Once you have those specific goals, like I want to get to $10,000 per month, or I want to lose 10 pounds in 6 months. Once you have those specific goals, you can actually break them down into daily action steps. Once you do that, it becomes so much easier for you to achieve your goals, and you do achieve your goals and you become happy. So let me give you some example of general goals versus specific goals and how you can set specific goals for yourself. So over here, general goals are I want to get rich. And if you turn that into a specific goal, it's going to be I want to make $1,000 online by June. A general goal might be I want to lose fat. If you turn that into a specific goal, it's going to be I want to lose 10 pounds in, let's say, in 6 months, so that you also have a deadline place. So that's basically the difference between general goals and specific goals. If you don't have specific goals set for yourself, pause this video right now, and this is going to be your action step for this step, which is set one specific goal. So pause this video right now and go set a specific goal for yourself. Okay, welcome back. So by now, you've already created a new identity. You've also set some specific goals for yourself. The next step is to actually break those specific goals down into daily action steps. And after that, I will show you 4 ways to make sure you're always doing the work and you're never procrastinating on your goals. But before that, let me tell you why you need to break your goals down into daily action steps. The reason we break your goals down into daily action steps is because it gives you an idea of exactly what you need to do every single day in order to make progress towards your goals. For example, if your goal was to make $100,000 per year, you're going to start feeling very overwhelmed and you're not going to know where to start in order to make that $100,000 that you want to get to. But if you break that down into daily action steps, you're going to realize it's only going to be $278 every single day that you need to make in order to get to that $100,000 that you want to get to. Now you have a goal. Now you have a daily action step. Now you know that you only need to make $278 every single day. And if you keep doing that for 365 days, you will get to that $100,000 that you want to get to. And making $278 per day seems a lot more attainable than $100,000 per year. So breaking your goals down gives you an exact idea of what you need to do every single day so that you can only focus on doing that. I don't know what your goals are, but for the sake of this example, we are going to use the lose 20 pounds in 6 months goal as an example. Breaking your goals down into daily action steps is something that I call the general's perspective. And the reason I say that is because before a general goes to war, he creates a detailed plan on exactly what he needs to do. And if you want to achieve your goals, you need to do the same thing because you are about to go into war with your current self, with your 1.0 version over here. You're going into war with your 1.0 version, and if you are victorious, you are going to become the 2.0 version. That's the end goal. And the reason you have not been able to achieve your goals so far is because you've been taking this lightly. You have not been seeing this as war, and so have I. But whenever I started making progress, it's only because I actually started taking this more seriously. I started creating a detailed plan, like I was going to war. I started to create a detailed plan on exactly how I need to get to my goals, and that is exactly what I'm sharing with you here today. So again, breaking your goals down into daily action steps is something I call the general's perspective, because before a general goes to war, he creates a very detailed plan on exactly what he needs to do in order to win. And if you want to do the same thing, if you want to win as well, if you want to become the 2.0 version of yourself who's capable of achieving all the goals you set for yourself, then you need to create a detailed step-by-step plan to make sure you achieve your goals. So I have two examples of big goals right here, and we're going to break those down into monthly goals, weekly goals, daily goals, and then daily action steps. And this is going to give you a better idea of what you need to do in order to break down your big goals and turn them into monthly, weekly, daily goals, and then into daily action steps as well. So the first example is making $100,000 per year. We just talked about this, but if that's your goal, then your monthly goal is going to be making $8,340 every single month. That seems more attainable than $100,000 per year, but it's still a big goal. So if you further break it down into weekly goal, it's going to be only making $2,085 every single week. Again, that's still smaller than $8,340, but it's still quite a big goal. If you break it down into daily goals, that's only going to be you making $278 every single day. That becomes a more actionable step. So now you know that you need to make $278 every single day. You need to make $2,085 every single week. You need to make $8,340 every single month. And if you keep doing that for 12 months, you are going to make $100,000 every single year. Now that you know that you only need to make $278 every single day, you're going to know exactly what you need to do every single day in order to make that $278 per day. So maybe you need to sell X amount of products. You need to take X amount of sales calls. You need to take you need to send a certain number of emails or messages. You know exactly what you need to do in order to get to that $278 that you want to get to every single day. Again, this is just an example. You're going to have to apply this to your own goals as well. Example 2 is losing 20 pounds in 6 months. If that's your goal, then your monthly goal would be to lose 3 to 4 pounds every single month. That seems quite achievable, but to some people not really. So we're going to break that down further into weekly goals, which is losing 1 pound per week. This is a very achievable goal. But if you're still not sure you can do that, then we're going to break that down into daily goals, which is lose 0.14 pounds every single day. That's super easy. You skip one meal and you're gonna hit your daily goal. But once you break that down, once you break losing 20 pounds in 6 months, which is this big unachievable goal, into daily action steps, which is hitting the gym, calorie deficit, clean diet. You do that and you're going to lose 0.14 pound every single day. You'll lose a pound every week. You'll lose 3 to 4 pounds every month. And eventually after 6 months, you are going to lose the 20 pounds that you wanted to lose in the first place. When you break your goals down into daily action steps and daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals like this, you're going to see that as you keep going, you have made a lot of progress than when you first started. So if you start, let's say tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, you're going to see that you're actually a lot further along than you would have been if you didn't complete this step, if you just had the big goal and you were not sure where to start. Doing this gives you an exact idea of where to start, because I know one of the biggest problems you're facing right now is not knowing where to start. I'm also going to show you how I broke my goal down as well. So my goal is basically get to $20,000 per month, but before I get that, I actually have to go to $10,000 per month first. So that's my immediate goal right now. And the way I broke that down is my current goal is $10,000 per month. So it's not an yearly goal, so we just basically skipped the year part and we went straight to the month part. My current goal is $10,000 per month. That means my weekly goal is going to be $2,500 per week, and my daily goal is $334 per day. $334 seems very attainable to me, but in order to do that, I need to take 5 sales calls every single day and close 2 of them. I need to send a certain number of DMs and emails every single day to actually book those 5 sales calls that I need to close. So I know exactly how many emails and how many DMs I need to send every day in order to book those 5 sales calls. I also know that out of 5 sales calls, I can close 2 of them. And closing 2 of them, I can get a commission of $334, like a bit over that, but I'm basically hitting my daily goal. If I do that for 7 days a week, I'm going to be able to make $2,500 per week. And if I do that for the 4 weeks of the month, I'm going to be making $10,000 per month. So that's basically my daily action step. So now that you have an idea of how to break your goals down into daily action steps, pause this video right now, take that specific goal you set for yourself and break that down into monthly, weekly, daily goals, and then break it down into daily action steps that you need to do every single day to make progress towards your goals. Welcome back. So by now you already have a new identity in place. You've set some specific goals and you broke those goals down into daily action steps. But when I first started, the problem for me was not goal setting. The problem was that I was doing my daily action steps for 3, 4, 5 days, and then I would start procrastinating on my goals and fall off. And 6 months would go by and I would still be in the exact same place. So if you're struggling with that too, here's exactly what you need to do to make sure that doesn't happen. And this is something that I call foreseeing failure and building contingencies, which is step number 4. You are about to wage war with your current self, like we already talked about, your 1.0 version. And it will set traps, distractions, and do whatever it takes to make sure you don't become your 2.0 version. To win a war, a general not only plans what to do, but he also puts backups and contingencies in place for when those plans fail. So when you're setting your daily goals and action steps, know that you are going to inevitably fail. But you also need to have backups and contingencies in place to fall back on for when those plans fail. You set goals and daily action steps. What do you do when you start procrastinating on those? That is exactly where foreseeing failures and building contingencies comes in handy. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to create another list. I know it's a lot of lists, but I want you to create another list. And on that list, I want you to write down every single possible ways you can fail and fuck up on your way to your goals. And the reason I'm telling you to do that is because of the diagram. So again, excuse my bad drawing, but pretty much what this diagram says is you right here, and this is where you want to get to, which is your goal. And on the way to your goal, on the path to your goal, there's inevitably going to be multiple obstacles that you're going to have to overcome in order to get to your goal. When you're on the path to your goal and you randomly stumble upon an obstacle, it's going to pay to know exactly what you need to do in order to overcome that obstacle. Because if you stumble upon an obstacle and you have no idea what to do, it just like caught you off guard, then it's going to take you days, weeks, months, or even years to get back on track. But if you pre-planned beforehand, if you knew exactly what type of obstacles you might face, and you had a list of 3, 4, 5 possible solutions for every single obstacle, it would save you a lot of days, a lot of weeks, a lot of months, a lot of years. And it's going to help you get to your goals much faster. So what I want you to do is I want you to take out a piece of paper, make a list of every single possible ways you can fuck up or fail on the path to your goals. Once you have that list, then beside every single obstacle, write down 2 to 3 solutions for every single one of those obstacles. This is going to be your cheat sheet. So when you're on the path to your goal, whenever you have any problem, whenever you're struggling with any obstacle, just pull out your cheat sheet and look at all the possible solutions you wrote down for each of the problem, and then just do that. This way, you are going to overcome every single one of your obstacles so fast that the other people, your competition, will have no idea what you're doing, because while they're here struggling with your obstacles, you're just going past every single one of them. And it's like you're not even facing any obstacles. And when you have that list, it's like a cheat sheet and you become unstoppable. Do you think every team in the Super Bowl or the NBA or the World Cup, do you think they don't spend a ridiculous amount of time planning and preparing for all the games that they're going to play? And do you also think they don't spend a ridiculous amount of time planning on what to do when those plans fail? Of course they do. And I also studied a lot of super successful people who were considered the best in the field that they were in. And one of them is Michael Jordan. And I'm going to read you a quote from one of my favorite books. It's called Winning by Tim Grover. And Tim Grover was Michael Jordan's coach during his time in the NBA. So in this book, Winning, Tim Grover writes, Michael Jordan's fundamentals were so well rehearsed, he never had to think about those basics during a game. He knew if he could get to a certain spot on the court, nothing could stop him. Most players have a spot like that. Michael Jordan had them all over the floor. That was his minefield. He knew exactly where to position himself and where his doomed opponents would be blown up. No different from elite military executing a complex operation. Routine isn't an option, it's imperative. Every detail is planned, mapped, and required. The team has to work in complete synchronization or else everyone is at risk. From the way you're taught to make your bed, to the precision and accuracy of jumping out of a plane, there is no room for creative options. The decisions have been made for you. Don't think, execute.
That's one of my favorite paragraphs in this book. What Tim Grover is talking about here is the fact that Michael Jordan spent a ridiculous amount of time planning and preparing before every single game. He knew exactly what to do during every single second of that game. And on top of that, he also knew what to do when his plans started failing. He also knew what to do and how to bounce back when his shots were not going in. That is Michael Jordan foreseeing failure and building contingencies. He spent a ridiculous amount of time planning and preparing, but he also spent a ridiculous amount of time foreseeing failure and building contingencies. That is how he became one of the best players to ever play the game of basketball. Do you think before a war, a general doesn't spend a ridiculous amount of time planning and strategizing on exactly how to win the war? Of course he does. So if planning and preparation is needed to win a war, it's needed to hit your goals, why should our goals be any different? Because without planning and preparation, we're going to do our daily action steps for 3, 4, 5 days, and then we're going to fall off. Because we've done this before. We hit our daily action steps for 3, 4, 5 days. And then on the 5th day, we start procrastinating and we fall off on our daily action steps. We've done this before. So it is imperative that we foresee failure and build contingencies for when our plans will fail. Now we know that by the time day 5 comes around, we are likely to fuck up. So if we foresee failure, then we're going to be able to build a plan around that. We're going to be able to know that when day 5 comes around, we are very likely to fuck up. So we can build a plan around that and make sure we don't fall off. So go back and take a look at your daily action steps and ask yourself, what can I do on a day-to-day basis to possibly fuck this up? How can you mess up your daily action steps? Once you have your answer, take out a piece of paper and make an entire list of every single thing that you can do to fuck your goals up and not do your daily action steps. And I'm going to do mine as well. Let's take a look at my daily action steps. So in order for me to get to $334 every single day, I'm going to have to take 5 sales calls and close 2 calls. And at the same time, I will also have to send a certain number of DMs and emails to book those 5 sales calls. One of the ways I can fuck this up is by staying up late. My biggest work block is during the morning, the time between 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's my most productive work block. If I stay up late, and then I wake up late, and I wake up super tired and super groggy, I'm going to miss that productive time of work. When that happens, I would not be able to send the certain number of DMs and emails, and that's not going to help me book 5 sales calls. If I don't book 5 sales calls, I won't be able to close 2 of them. If I don't close 2 of them, I won't make my $334. So one of the ways I can fuck it up is by staying up late. Maybe I was at a party, maybe I was on my phone, maybe I was doing whatever. If I'm staying up late and I wake up late, that's one of the ways I can fuck up my daily action steps. Another way that I can mess up my daily action steps is by taking rejection personally. So if I'm hopping on sales calls with 5 people and 3 of them rejected me, if I get down on myself, if I become discouraged because I got 3 rejections, I'm not going to have the best frame of mind going into the other 2 sales calls, which I could have closed. But since I took rejection personally, I'm not going to be able to close the other 2 as well. That's another way I can fuck up my daily action steps and not close the 2 sales calls that I'm supposed to close. So do the same thing with your daily action steps. Write down your daily action steps, and beside that, write down every single thing that you can possibly do on a day-to-day basis to fuck it up. Write down everything that can come up that can possibly stop you from doing your daily action steps. This is called foreseeing failure, and every single successful people that I've studied have done this, because we can't delude ourselves into thinking that problems and obstacles are not going to show up when we're on the path to our goals. We have to expect problems, and we also have to prepare a plan to overcome those problems and execute on that plan when those problems show up. And that's exactly what we're doing with this list of writing down all the possible ways we can fuck up our daily action steps. So pause this video right now and do the action step for this step, which is write down a list of all the possible ways you can fuck up and not do your daily action steps. Welcome back. So I already told you that all the successful people that I've studied, they did the previous example of forcing failure and building contingencies. But they all took it a step further as well. Not only did they foresee failure and build contingencies, they also visualized exactly what they would do when those problems arose. And that is the next step to making sure you always hit your goals, which is visualization. Now, visualization sounds very woo-woo spiritual stuff. And I totally get if you don't want to hear about this, because when my mentors first told me about visualization, I was adamant on not using it. Because I thought that it was some spiritual woo-woo stuff that I don't really need in order to hit my goals. because I thought if you want to hit your goals, you just have to do the work. But they said something to me which really opened my mind about visualization, and I actually started practicing it myself, and it really helped me. But before I even convince you to start doing visualization, let me ask you this. Have you ever woken up from a nightmare drenched in sweat? That happens because your brain cannot differentiate between what's real and what's imaginary. So whatever life-threatening situation was going on in your dreams, your brain thought that was real. And that is why it activated a physical response, which is sweating. So your brain cannot differentiate between what's real and what's imaginary. Same thing with those dreams where you feel like you're falling from a very tall building and you keep falling and you keep falling and then you have a jerk reaction and you just wake up. That happens because your brain cannot differentiate between what's real and what's imaginary. So your brain actually thinks that you're falling from a very tall building. Just knowing that, I don't think you understand how powerful visualization is. If you can visualize something and you keep visualizing it, you can quite literally convince your brain that what you're visualizing is actually real. And that means you can quite literally create your own reality. And I'll show you exactly how to use visualization to hit your goals. What most people do is they only visualize the results. They only visualize themselves wearing a Rolex or driving a Ferrari or taking a trip to Dubai. While that may be effective, it's not going to help you hit your goals using visualization. The correct way to use visualization is to actually visualize your daily action steps and not the outcome, not the results. So for example, one of my daily action steps is practicing sales. What I'm going to do is instead of visualizing me actually making the sale, I'll visualize myself waking up the next morning, feeling super lazy and not wanting to practice sales at all, but still getting up and doing it. I'll visualize myself having a distraction pop up that is so compelling that I just want to go and check that, but still saying no to the distraction and focusing on practicing sales. That is how you visualize your daily action steps. You visualize yourself having distractions show up, feeling like you don't want to do the work, but still doing it anyway. And remember, again, your brain cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's being visualized. So if you can keep visualizing the fact that you have distractions popping up and you don't want to do the work, but still doing it anyway, it's going to give your brain references that you've actually done this before 100 times in the past, if you visualized 100 times before. So if you visualize yourself feeling lazy and unmotivated and not wanting to do the work, but still doing it anyway, you're going to convince your brain that that is your normal response to when distractions pop up, which is ignore them and still do your work. And if you keep visualizing that, whenever distractions pop up or you feel lazy in the future and you don't want to do the work, your brain will literally convince you to do the work because we're creatures of habit and your brain has already made the connection that whenever you feel lazy or you have distractions pop up, you're the type of person who ignores that and still gets the work done. Now, remember the list we made on every single way you can fuck up your daily action steps? Yeah, now visualize every single one of those possible fuck ups happening, but you still get your work done. Visualize every single one of those fuck ups 5 times where you still get your work done, and I can promise you, once you've done that, the next time those fuck ups pop up or distractions pop up or you feel lazy or something happens where you don't feel like you want to do the work, you will get the work done. I know this seems like a lot of work, but then again, not everyone will do it, and not everyone will win. But all the successful people that I studied, they did this, and that's why they won. Because they were willing to go the extra mile. They were willing to do the things that most normal people are not willing to do. So if this seems like a lot of work, it's only because this is the type of stuff that successful people were willing to do, and unsuccessful people are not. So, by now, you've created a new identity. You set your goal, you broke it down into monthly, daily, weekly action steps, and you also wrote down a list of ways you can possibly fuck up your goals. And you visualized yourself having the opportunity to fuck up, but still sticking to your goals. But we're not done yet. There's 2 more things that I'll go over to make sure you hit your goals in 2024. We're going to build systems to make sure that even after creating a new identity, even after visualizing, if you're still about to fall off your habits and not hit your goals, you have something to rely on that will make sure you will do the work. And this is the building contingencies part of step number 4, which is foreseeing failure and building contingencies. So we already covered the part of foreseeing failure by doing the visualization and all that stuff. But now it's time to build the contingencies. The way we're going to do that is by creating 2 more lists. I know it's a lot of lists, but if you want to be successful, you have to autistically prepare for every single way you can fail. Most people don't do this, and that's why most people don't succeed. So let's take a look at both the lists. So over here in the building contingencies part, when your plans fail, which they will, and you're about to procrastinate, you'll need something to fall back onto. And this is basically what these two lists are for. So the first list is called the motivation list, and the second list is called the pain list. So we're going to start with the motivation list. On this list, I want you to write down all the reasons why you want to get to your goals. And I actually did this with you. These are all the reasons why I want to get to my goals. I want to retire my family. I want to be financially free. I want to feel confident in my body and looks. I want to prove everyone wrong. I want a high quality partner, and I want high quality friends. As for the second list, which is the pain list, this is the list where you're going to write down every single negative thing someone has said to you in the past that still stuck with you, that hurt you, or that motivated you. And again, I did this myself too. So all the things that people have said to me in the past that really hurt me are, you're ugly, you will never be successful, you should stop wasting your time, stop being so selfish, you will end up on the streets, he's way better than you. So when I say he's way better than you, I'm talking about someone else that I was compared to who was very close to me. But that list, the pain list, is basically all the things that people have said to you in the past, or maybe they're still saying to you, that really hurt you, and you're going to use that as motivation. These two lists are going to be your ammo. These are going to be your secret weapon for when you're about to procrastinate and not do the work, but you still need some sort of motivation to go and do the work. When you've already visualized all the potential ways you can fuck up, and you're still about to not do your work, you will take a look at both of these lists. You're going to think about how every single morning you're going to wake up excited for the day instead of dreading it, because you know that you're about to do meaningful work that's making you money, but it's also having a contribution on maybe your family or the society or whatever contribution you want to have. You also know that once you're done with your work, once you've spent 5, 6, 7 hours doing hard, meaningful work, you also know you're going to go home to a beautiful family who's waiting for you. You also know that there are a lot of exciting plans later in the day waiting for you. That is the type of life you and I are going to have if we actually hit our goals. But then on the flip side, you're also going to be thinking about what's going to happen if you don't hit your goals. You're going to go through the pain list, and you're going to realize that if you don't hit your goals, you're going to wake up every morning, and the first thought in your mind is how they were right and you were wrong. You were too weak to actually go after your goals, and everything that's said about you, the fact that you were ugly or not good looking enough, or the fact that you were never going to be successful, all those things that said about you were actually right. Because you and I were too weak to get up, take action, and get to our goals. And our parents would be ashamed of us. They would change the topic when our name comes up. And that's not a feeling I want, and I'm pretty sure you don't want that either. So these two lists are going to be your ammo. These are going to be our last line of defense when we're about to procrastinate, but we need to get up and do the work. So now you've autistically put systems in place to make sure you have the best chance possible to actually hit your goals. You're starting off with creating a new identity and then breaking your goals down into monthly, weekly, and daily action steps. Once that's done, you're also making a list of all the possible ways you can fuck up your daily action steps. And you're also visualizing you doing the daily action steps every single day, even when you don't feel like doing it. This makes your brain believe that you've been doing this for a long time, and it makes it easier for you to actually do it in real life. And if that fails, you have your list of why you want to get to your goal, and you also have your list of every single bad thing people have said about you in the past. That is going to light a fire under your ass and make sure you actually do the work. I know I just overwhelmed you with all of this information, so let me show you the daily application of all of these. First of all, you're going to read your identity sheet first thing in the morning and last thing at night. You're also going to read this whenever you have a spare second. Instead of going on your phone and scrolling or doing whatever, whenever you have a spare second, when you're waiting in line or you're in the back of an Uber or whatever, whenever you have a spare second, take out your phone and read your identity sheet. Become obsessed with the person that you want to be. Next thing is doing your daily action steps. You'll obviously be doing this in your deep work session, preferably early in the morning when there's no other distractions. The next thing is visualization and foreseeing failure. Now you can do this anytime during the day, but I prefer having a set time every single day where I do my visualization. So for me, I visualize at 9 p.m. every single day for 15 minutes. And as for your two lists, the motivation list and the pain list, you'll just have them in front of your desk 24/7. These are your backups for when you're about to procrastinate, so you don't have to read it daily if you don't want to. But have them in a place where it's clearly visible and you can take a look at it whenever you want. I like to take a look at my list just before I'm about to start work so that it gives me that extra motivation that I need to get my work done. Now, I know this seems like a lot of work. I don't think anyone on the internet ever talked about goal setting in this autistic way. And I can guarantee most people watching this will not do this. But I will. And I hope you will too. Because again, like I said, successful people are willing to do the things most unsuccessful people are not willing to do. When you're out planning, out strategizing, and out working every single person, that's how you will win. If you want to succeed, you have to go to war with your current self. You have to beat your current self in order to become the person you wrote down in your identity sheet. The person who's actually capable of achieving all the goals you set for yourself. So, if this was valuable, feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel to show your support. I will always appreciate that. If you don't want to, it's completely fine. And I will see you in the next one.